46 people have been arrested after violence broke out in the build-up to Aston Villa's game with Legia Warsawa in Birmingham last night. 4 police officers were also injured in the incident. West Midlands Police say officers were faced with disgusting and highly dangerous scenes, including having flares thrown at them. The Europa Conference League tie went ahead, with some away fans blocked from entering the match over safety fears. Joining me now, former Met Police officer Peter Bleksley and Aston Villa fan Rupert Bell, who was at the match last night. Thank you both for joining me very much. Rupert, if you were there, maybe you can describe what you saw if you saw this altercation. I mean, throwing flares at police officers, so dangerous.
It's so dangerous. Where I walk into the ground, I noticed walking past Aston Hall down into the ground, I could see a huge police presence, because normally outside the Holt end there is normally that's car parks, but instead there were police vehicles. I could sense something was definitely happening, and as I walked into my part of the ground, there were 2 Polish fans right behind me trying to get in without a ticket. They were trying to, as I walked in, one was immediately walking right next to me to get through the turnstile. And as I walked into my seat, which is my regular season ticket seat that I'd bought, you had to buy them extra, I could see that there were no police fans, Legia Warsawa fans coming into the ground. And obviously I'd seen on social media that there were incidents taking place, and it created a really uncomfortable atmosphere within the ground. The players had to approach from a different entrance. They parked the bus in a different place so that they could avoid some of the trouble that was going on. And obviously, it's deeply worrying, because it's obviously for Aston Villa, we're back in Europe, we want to enjoy it. But Legia Warsawa fans, sadly, have a history of causing problems. And the allocation was reduced, I think, in November. And it was just an uncomfortable feeling. And it made for a disappointing evening. Even though we won, the whole feeling was overshadowed by what went on outside the ground at the Whitton end, the other side to where I am. But we all knew that it was pretty nasty what was unfolding with the police.
Not at all surprised the atmosphere was different and changed by this, Rupert. Let me bring Peter Bleksley into this. I mean, Peter, the photographs that we're showing next to your faces as you're commenting are absolutely spectacular, but they're spectacularly horrifying. They're absolutely astounding, really. How unusual or usual is this kind of behaviour at football matches? And if you're a police officer on duty, what are you supposed to do to keep yourself safe through all of this?
Well, I've been going to football matches all my life, and in fact tonight I'm in Italy and going to watch Monza play Juventus this evening. Now, football, with regards to UK football, in terms of supporter behaviour, it's really cleaned its act up an awful lot from the bad, dark days of the 70s, the 80s and even the 90s. The Premier League is a product sold across the world, and it doesn't want to be tarnished by bad supporter behaviour. It's not perfect, but it's not anywhere near as dreadful as it used to be. Now, if you come into Europe, you will see far more examples of unacceptable fan behaviour. Flares are everywhere. I'll see them this evening, undoubtedly. And when you tend to move further east to watch games, then you'll find violence, unacceptable language, problems arising on public transport, and much, much more. It's almost like travelling in a time tunnel when you come to some of these games abroad. There was clearly a problem with the ticketing. Legia Warsawa do have a history, as Rupert alluded to. In fact, only a few weeks ago, there was problems when they played AZ Alkmaar in the Netherlands. So there was clearly a failing with regards to the ticketing strategy, which led to so many people turning up in the expectation of getting into the ground and failing. So therefore, they were very, very angry, and they took their anger out on the West Midlands Police, who I would actually like to commend for having sufficient officers there to be able to make 46 arrests. They had significant resources there. They faced an awful lot of unpleasantness. And for a police service that's definitely under the cosh at the moment, I think they did pretty well.
And if you're a fan and you were arrested, what is it likely that your penalty or punishment will be?
Well, everybody arrested last night was an away supporter, a supporter of the Polish team. It will be interesting to see how many of those are domiciled in the UK or how many actually travelled from Poland. I suspect that if cases get in front of the courts, the magistrates will be looking to send out a very clear message, and that is that hooliganism at UK football grounds is treated very, very firmly and is looked upon as being utterly unacceptable. So I suspect there will be some pretty hefty sentences handed down as long as the police have been able to gather the evidence, the CPS agreed to charge, and they can get them in front of a court.
Thank you both very much indeed. I hope you enjoyed the match this evening, Peter. Thanks for joining me. Thanks.